What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Hayes.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your man, Tony M, and you're listening to the PPUK Podcast live.
Welcome everyone to the PPUK Podcast, a little extra one this today. This is reviewing the NPG gig at KOKO this last weekend on Sunday. We've had a few days to recover. My voice still hasn't totally recovered, but with me is Lee.
Barely with you. I'm still recovering from the weekend. Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
And Leah.
I am very here. I think I'm the only one that's fully present.
I'm here in spirit, but 75% of my only 75% of my voice is. So right.
I was at the front, Chopin, and I heard you.
Really?
But my spider senses was like tingling. It's like, I'm pretty sure I can hear Chopin singing to 7.
Yeah, that was the one. And Amadeus in a quarter, feeling funky fine, and I reckon that's stupid. Yeah. And I think me, Maureen, and Kat, there was a lot of from the start. We didn't wasn't even waiting for it. Wasn't even waiting for Tony to cue it in. We were making sure that got played. All right, so we're going to start with Lee, because Lee, you got into the sound check, right?
Yeah, I didn't. Not that I, climbed KOKO's and climbed through the window or anything. Went into the meet and greet. KOKO looks amazing. I think the refurb, since the roof, it had a fire, didn't it? I think it looks incredible. It's a nice, very, very nice venue. So queued up for the meet and greet and got to meet Tony Morris and NPG, and that was really cool. Had an official picture taken with the NPG, and that was really, really cool. And they remembered me and from the podcast, and was chatting away, and they said thank you for all the support that we've been giving them, and that was really, really cool. And there was a couple of other people there that had their pictures taken that we'll receive on email. So that was really, really cool. And then
they sold out for the meet and greet as well, weren't they? They were really popular.
Yeah, they sold out on the meet and greet, which was really, really great. And so where the picture was taken was upstairs by the wall, and obviously MPG came out with wearing masks and everything. And obviously COVID safety precautions were still in effect. And then went down to the front. No, actually, sorry, I got it round the wrong way. Went in first, and they did Lady Cab Driver and what was the other song? Here She Comes. Is that it?
When She Comes?
I'm sorry, yeah. When She Comes.
From Welcome to America.
From Welcome to America. They did them too. I think I filmed it or live streamed it on Instagram. And then we did the meet and greet. Sorry, I got it around the wrong way. Went in, did the sound check, and then had the picture, and then came straight back down, and then got to the front and met a few people and was talking, and then just stayed there for the whole night, and it was absolutely amazing. I was right at the front, dead center. As everyone keeps on telling me and tagging me in pictures, it feels like I'm Where's Wally. It's like, hey, who's in this picture? And then everyone just keeps on tagging, hey, I can see Lee. Hey, I can see Lee. Hey, I can see Lee. I really do feel like, where's Waldo, or where's Wally, or literally Wally, yeah. And it's fun to see, and it's great to see that interaction of, seeing the shots of from above and from the side, and everyone, we've not had that for a while, with seeing a group shot of us, and it was a great vibe that whole night. Just to not to jump the gun or anything, but it was a great vibe that night.
It really was, and it was nice seeing those pictures, and it's like in one way, it's nice pointing yourself out and seeing yourself in the crowd, but it's also nice, like, seeing where everybody else was, and like how everybody, where everybody else, and he's like spotting your friends. It's like, oh,
yeah,
so-and-so's down there, so-and-so's down there is
And then obviously before I went in for the sound check, we had the pre-party across the road, which was really, really good. And just to say a big thank you to everyone that came. Shout outs to Maureen, Kat, Lee, Sam, Phil, Purple Army crowd, everyone. It was really, really great to see everyone, and a big thank you to Dre for DJing and putting on a show. And he's been incredibly supportive over the years, and he's always our go-to DJ, and he's a very good friend of mine. So thank you, Dre, for that. Massive thank you to everyone that came up and said hello, and apologies if I didn't say hello to everyone. I was crazy busy, and I was trying to help people get tickets as well. So I managed to get a few people in, and it was kind of swap shop of everyone's like, hey, have you got a ticket? Yeah. Oh right, this person needs a ticket. It was, and that's another thing that's positive about the community, that some people that didn't have tickets just turned up there and managed to get tickets. And it was, like a swap shop kind of thing. And but no, thank you for everyone that came, and other people came up to me. And I know, Chopin, you said people came up to you and said thank you for the podcast, or thank you for the unboxing videos, and that's really, really great to hear. And again, thank you for the support. And we do this as fans.
It was really fun to see, because the other thing is like we mentioned Maureen and Kat and Lee, and they were flying for their party in October. In it's the banished ones, I believe. You get a party in October, and Debbie was down, who's running a party in Edinburgh, and I believe there's parties in Birmingham. So it's beautiful to see people all in the same place, and kind of talking about the other events you can go to up and down the country. So it's
we've always been supportive of everyone's event. That's the whole point. And having events like this is incredibly important. And it was great to see everyone. And we had an amazing night. I think it was incredible. And so we had the pre-party, and then you had the gig, and it worked. Everything worked out. There's a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes.
Speaking of hard work behind the scenes, I mean, Leah was doing some hard work in front of the scenes. I mean,
I know, and I just want to say a personal thank you to Leah, because you worked your arse off for these past few weeks. You have been a legend, and you did an amazing job. So thank you, as a personal thank you to you. And Chopin, thank you to always guiding my creativity and being my purple fairy godmother of and giving me advice when I need it. So I do appreciate that. And it was good. It was really, really good. And Leah, like I said, you and Dale worked your asses off, and you did what you had to do. You knew the assignment, and you're knocking things out of the park, and you're very talented, and you know that. So shout out to Leah.
Thanks.
Oh, this feels like it's not a podcast, it's a bloody Oscar speech. I'd like to thank the Academy.
Leah, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
I mean, big shout out to Dale as well. I know you did mention Dale there, but he absolutely smashed it as well. Obviously, not being part of the podcast, I want to make sure that he does get a really good shout out there. I've seen some of his.
He's in the other room at this precise moment, so I hope you can hear the appreciation.
But I've seen some of his images. They haven't been posted just yet, but for anyone listening, they probably will have been posted by the time that you hear this, or at least a handful. And oh my God, some of them are incredible. So big shout out to Dale for when those come out.
Yep. And yeah,
big shout out to the band for a killer performance.
Yeah, we haven't even got to that bit yet. We're picking up ourselves
and Dre. And Dre's on for playing some nice deep cuts.
Yeah, he
at the pre-party.
He nailed that. He got that straight away. And
anybody that plays the Get Wild Money Maker mix is, respect.
I give Dre's, and again, trying not to sound like an Oscar speech, but I give Dre his credit. He definitely knows how to read the crowd. And I forgot to give one more shout out to Taffy, for coming over and sitting with me for a little while I was running around like a headless chicken and talking about lighting fixtures for a Lady Gaga concert. So I know he listens to this podcast. So a big shout out to Taffy for sitting with me and talking about Lady Gaga whilst I was juggling a million things. And so shout out to Taffy as well.
This is not a gig review. It's just a shout out podcast.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, about that gig.
I'd like to say thank you to the bartenders for serving me Coke.
Yeah, I think the reason we're kind of going down this route a little bit with this one is because this is kind of a really big one for us as a platform as well, being able to interview the NPG prior to the gig and having the whole build up and Lee creating all these phenomenal memes. We did have such a build up to this gig, and with COVID and everything like that, it's kind of the real big first event that we've had Prince wise. So I feel like it's felt like a real enormous event for us, not just as a Prince community, but PPUK as well.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So about that gig.
Yeah, the gig. No, I will say this about the pre-party is it was for the first time I'd seen a lot of people since lockdown. There was lots of people that were kind of like, it was just such a beautiful like positive party that it was just great. But I think that's pretty much it. When you get a lot of Prince fans in a room, most of the time it's like you play some good music and you get a good dance floor going, and you've got that shorthand to talk to people, even if they're strangers. I think there was people that came in that didn't know anybody, ended up having a couple of friends by the time they left. So that's the other thing is like, if you
I learned from the master. Again, this is not a Oscar speech, but I learned from the master. I learned from the master Ray, and it was all about that. You know, you make these friendships, and you know, you turn up at these places, turn up to these shows, and you have that one thing in common, and you know, you make these friends. You know, it's like, as I jokingly said on the podcast that I did with Doves, was, you know, it's like that Step Brothers sketch of like, hey, did we just become best friends? It's that, you know, it's that
before
moment.
you know it.
Exactly. So anyway, about the show.
Yeah. But just as an aside before the show, I will, because we've all got one, is that if you don't know any Prince fans and you are thinking of going to a Prince event, whether it's the one in Edinburgh, one in London, one in Birmingham, whether it's not even one of the UK ones, just go. You'll find a friend, even if you're alone. Just start talking Prince and you'll find someone to talk to. It's great. But the show, so we're in the venue. It's nicely air conditioned thanks to the refurb of the KOKO, which was so needed after sweating it out at the party. And the lights go out. And all of a sudden, Live for Love. I've heard them do this before, but anytime I hear that Sonny T doing that solo on Live for Love, I am so happy.
Yeah, if anyone heard the girl scream right at the start, that was me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really, it's like one of my favorite tracks. Someone at work the other day, I don't know if he listens to the podcast, Cameron, he asked me the other day, he goes, "Oh, what's your favorite last track on a Prince album?" And I said, "Live for Love." And you know, hearing that, and I think I've mentioned it before, it always reminds me of playing video games, playing Top Gun, and listening to that track, and it's like a great little track. And for them to start off with that, it's like, hey, you have my attention. You had me at this track. I'm yours for the rest of the night. It was great.
I feel like I have a completely different perspective because Live for Love started for me and I'm just playing around with lenses and cameras and f-stops. But it was funny because it was kind of almost like a theme tune for me scrambling around to get shots because I wasn't sure how long I'd be able to shoot for. So everyone else is like, you know, going with this upbeat tempo and I'm sort of scrambling left stage, right stage, middle. to get shots. But I feel like it was such a perfect opener. But for any of the other tracks, if you don't hear me talk so much, it's probably because I was engrossed doing pictures somewhere and unable to pay too much attention, which was painful. But Live for Love was a phenomenal opener, and I think it was really nice that they didn't go for the obvious, like Let's Go Crazy or something. It was like in with the fans straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a testing who's hardcore in the house, kind of like, you know, like who was still on board at this point, you know, like I thought it was a really good one that, you know, Mackenzie comes out, is singing Live for Love, and then Tony holds back and then comes on the stage halfway through. I'm guessing as a photographer, you're sitting there with the camera going, where's Tony?
It was a moment for me going, Tony's all right, isn't he?
I was just like, there's someone missing. There's someone missing in the back.
Well, it's funny because you guys obviously looking normal with your eyes, you see the whole stage. Whereas when you're looking down a camera lens, you're looking at one zoomed image. So until Tony came out, I hadn't noticed he wasn't really there yet. And then he walked across my shot and I was like, oh my God, Tony's here, what quick. So it was like an even bigger shock for me because all of a sudden he was like walking past my telly lens and I was like, It
was a great.
I just remember it so distinctly at Nels because I was very close to Sonny T, and I am a huge fan of his bass playing, and I was just my eyes were like transfixed on it. Like usually I'm a jumper and a screamer and a dance arounder, but like when I was that close to Sonny playing that, my eyes were transfixed on his fingers doing the solo, just like how the guy does it. He is absolutely amazing, you know, like he held it down the whole show.
And the other thing that I thought they all had so much energy. They were enthusiastic. They weren't just, you know, there was, you know, Mackenzie led it with energy, and you know, and they were all, you could tell that they were enjoying themselves. You can tell they were enjoying the vibe.
It was a great.
I love that they went in straight after with the track like 17 Days, because they went from sort of 90s to 80s real quick, but they were still like pretty fan tracks. They were still, you know, they weren't obvious. They hadn't gone for the Let's Go Crazy 1999 yet. They were still hitting you with the fan ones. And I loved that it was was it Welcome to America arrangement? But I remember that kind of coming in and me losing my mind. For anyone that knows me very well knows that 17 Days is one of my favorite Prince songs ever. So I was there like trying to take pictures but just wanted to dance. So I was like grooving whilst taking the pictures
with the camera going
If there's any blurred shots, they were probably taken either in 17 Days or Days of Wild.
Yeah, Days of Wild, yeah, definitely. What do you think, Chopin?
I thought it was fantastic. Well, I thought it was fantastic. I love that song anyway. Like, what Prince fan doesn't? I mean, you know, there are some, you know, classic songs that some Prince fans like are going, I've heard them saying, yeah, no, I'm not so into 1999. I'm not so into this one, or Purple Rain's overplayed. I never heard that said about 17 Days. 17 Days is universally loved, right? I've never heard a bad live arrangement of it, whether it's just him on piano or whether it's the Revolution or NPG in various incarnations. So it's just a great groove, and it's so fantastic hearing the crowd sing the synth part. You know, it's like it was so good. I think by this point, like at least 5% of my voice was already gone thanks to screaming Live for Love, and it's like all my upper registers were starting to fade already.
But then they make it even harder when they hit the next track, Girls and Boys, and like we're having to sing the female part. Chopin's already there going, I can't.
So it's like I'm just saying. I thought I'd just sing the baritone sax bit. Like everybody else is singing Girls and Boys. Girls and Boys. I'm just going. That's all the bar. That's all of my voice that's left. And again, kudos for playing the Act 2 arrangement of that song. Like rather than like kind of going for a Revolution thing, it's like they're still doing what the NPG arrangement of
exactly
classic songs. It's that, and it's actually always been my favorite arrangement because of the way it ends. There's this kind of and you're like boom, 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 dun, 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 dun. See, I can't even sing it yet because that part of my voice is only so much back. Yeah, it was such a good gig.
I think that's what's really interesting about going to see the NPG. Actually, I saw already conversations about whether there was too much 80s, whether they should have done more 90s. But I think that's kind of the beauty of being able to go and see the NPG, that even if they do something that is from the 80s, they're doing the arrangements that Prince performed with the NPG. So they have that ability to still bring NPG to the table, even though it's not necessarily something that they recorded.
Well, it's the advantage they have that, like, the Revolution approach in an NPG song is like they never did it. Like, it's one of those things. Whereas the NPG had to perform everything, and that's not comparison stuff. That's just like they've got that in the bag, like because they had to.
But as Morris said to us on our interview, it's very hard for them to choose tracks, and people's like, oh, why didn't you do this track? Why didn't you do that track? And then also management and marketing people telling them, you need to do these tracks. But going through all the tracks, there's not one I can't remember that it's like I didn't know, I didn't enjoy. How many times did the crowd sing along? I think the balance of tracks was perfect, and starting off with Live for Love and all the different tracks. I think they it's the Goldilocks, it's 2 80s, 2 90s, and I think they got just right. Literally, I think it was it was the right tracks to pick, and they know what they're doing, and Morris knows what he's doing, and I think they nailed it in terms of the set list.
Apart from the 70s, I think they did a song from every decade. Because if you include the sound check when she comes,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Because they done Black Sweat from 2010s. They done Call My Name from 2004. So they've done 90s stuff, 2000s, 2010s, 80s stuff. I think apart from something from For You, because they even went as early as Controversy. So apart from unless they did something from For You, like that would have been every single decade of music and made it sound cohesive. It's not and also the reason why the answer usually to the question, why didn't they play that, is because the gig wasn't 10, 15 or 20 hours long. And that's what you would need to play all of those songs.
Yeah.
And obviously Prince's, famous phrase is, I've got so many hits. And it's, you can't please everyone, but there's no one that I spoke to afterwards or any comments or messages afterwards was that they didn't enjoy it. They didn't do this. I've not seen anything at the moment. So I like I said, I think, it must be so hard to choose what tracks to do. And again, it's celebrating Prince. It's not celebrating, it's celebrating this man's catalogue. It's celebrating this man's performances. It's so it's very and some Prince fans can be quite hard to please, but I think they really did, and I'm not blowing smoke, but I think they got it right. For me to sing along at the concert and stuff, very rarely. And I was, watching the videos that I took on my phone, and I keep on like, I can't use that video because I'm singing over the top.
I was howling. I can't remember what video of yours I was watching, and all I could hear was you singing along, and I was crying. It was so funny. I highly recommend that anyone listening goes and has a look at some of the PPUK live stream just for the entertainment of hearing Lee a cappella. It's brilliant.
And
so you didn't get to rap, along with Tony M, but you did get to sing
on
along
one of the videos.
videos.
There's me rapping along with Tony. Like Tony's like right in front of me and pointing at me, and I'm sure I'm rapping with him at the same time. And I'm like, and yeah, I've played back some of the videos. I was like, can't use that, can't use that, can't use that. And I'm like,
I think you can, and I think you should. I think the more of your vocal, the better.
doing my album launch party next month.
Oh, now this is, I mean, if it was up to me, everybody has their own dream set list. If it was up to me, they would have just played the first NPG album, Exodus and New Power Soul back to back to back, and I would have been done. So Deuce and a Quarter was a happy moment. It's not even just Deuce and a Quarter because it goes straight into Call the Law, and I know that I was already having problems singing along after Call the Law. So
how they went in. So I think I got like a 6-minute video, and how they went from that song to Call the Law. It was really well done, and even with the lighting as well. It's a bit like Tony stands in the middle, and there's light shining behind him, and then he goes straight into Call the Law. And it was so well timed, and it's a great, because I even spoke to you and I said, oh, should I split the video up? When I've been doing some editing, I was going to cut it in half, and you said don't do it, and I completely, again, very godmother. I completely agree, and the actual video looks a lot better now because I've not cut it up. But yeah, no, it was a great, and I think the overall flow as well, just from one song to another. I don't think there was any.
That was actually a shout out. You kind of touched on it there, but that was a shout out I really wanted to give out. I don't know who did the light design, but it was phenomenal. Just silly things like when they did Black Sweat, the lights went black and white. It like the video, everything was kind of really seamlessly done. And it's interesting because going back through the photos, there was over approaching 2,000. But it's funny, on certain shots, I can tell you what song was being played because the lighting was so reminiscent of the era or the video. So whoever did the light design, kudos to them, because I can pinpick some songs out of that. So really well done.
Shout out to the lighting guy. It is an Oscar speech.
I was too busy jumping up and down, like the entire room was moving for me. I mean, I was like kind of just trying not to knock people's drinks out the way as I was pogoing to Call the Law. By the end of it, Lee, your fairy godmother, she sounded like Pat Butcher by the I was just like,
that's the most UK reference that we could possibly make. For any Americans watching, you'll have to Google that.
Oh, Pat Butcher from EastEnders. Yeah.
Yeah.
She sounded like this, by the way. That's what I'm trying to say.
I wanted to ask you guys, actually, and I think Call the Law is a really good one to mention. How did we feel about the fact there wasn't a female vocalist, and did you think it was missed? Because Mackenzie took the Rosie part of Call the Law. What do you think?
It's interesting because I thought there was a Rosie Gaines sample.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
There was a Rosie Gaines sample played. Sure. So he was singing over the top, but Rosie Gaines' voice was in there. I mean, the NPG over the years has definitely had female members, and Ida Nilsson, played with them, and Candy Dolfer has played with them as well. So
it was something that I was kind of not concerned about, but I was definitely curious. And we mentioned it in the podcast with Tony and Morris, where we were like, are you going to have a special guest vocalist? Because we know we've had Beverly. When I saw them in
Shelby's
Birmingham, when I saw them in Birmingham, they had Misha Paris. So they have brought in guests as well to sing with them. And I was like, oh, are they going to bring someone in? But I have to say, Mackenzie really carried it. And at times I wasn't even looking at Mackenzie and it just sounded like a female vocal. It really fitted well because I think it's quite a hard, with Prince music, sometimes things like Girls and Boys, Pop Life, they're songs that have a lot of really heavy female vocal parts, and it really wasn't as missed as I thought it might be, not having a female vocal on stage.
Well, Mackenzie's got a really good upper register, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So he's not just like somebody who, his upper register is he's got power in the upper registers, so that's what carries it off. It's like some guys, they can go high, but it starts to sound really thin and nasal. But he's got a full tone to his like head voice. So that
as much as Tony M is my hero, I think if I was to do American football analogy, Mackenzie would be my MVP because he was incredible. And the last couple of times I've seen him, he's been good. But I think he's come into his own now, and he performed, and he lyrically, vocally, performance-wise, he had so much energy, and I was like, wow, he's very good. So he would, and no offense to any other members of the band, I know they work incredibly hard, but for something to have that on your shoulders of celebrating Prince, and to have that, I think he's made it his own, and very similar to Queen with help me out, Leah.
Adam Lambert.
It's that kind of, and I think Nigel made that analogy as well. When I spoke to him the day after, he made that analogy of like they make it their own, and it becomes a whole new thing, which isn't disrespectful to the previous thing. It's something new, but it's still paying homage to the previous thing. And it's I'm not over exaggerating. I just think his overall performance was, it was a show. It was a gig.
Well, I mean, you're never going to replace Prince, so why bother trying? And I don't think they tried. I think they got somebody to sing those parts rather than someone to replace Prince. Basically, even when a normal band, changes singers, mid-album or whatever, it's a challenging thing. But when you're kind of talking about, you're replacing somebody who was essentially a solo artist. So for a lot, of his career. So rather than a band member.
Sorry, stage presence. That was the terminology I was trying to reference earlier. Yeah. His stage presence was.
He didn't have it. It was the definition of it, like Prince. So, I mean, otherwise we wouldn't all be here talking about.
No, you could tell he was enjoying himself, and he even got emotional later on. And I think Tony was consoling him, just checking on him. And
I saw that, Jen. Was that?
Yeah, I think it was Purple. Was it Purple Rain?
I think so. Yeah. If we're talking MVPs, mine's usually Sonny or Morris, just because they're holding it down so tightly. And props to Mike Scott as well, who was always a good member of the band as well. I think Mike Scott's from a kind of like an underrated time in Prince's life career, the New Power Soul Band, a musicology band, so I think people just like seeing Prince take the reins of the guitar and never really kind of.
Yeah,
but Mike Scott's always been good. He's one of the few people that Prince let lead on his stuff. So kudos to.
Can we talk about Sexy MF?
Oh well, I mean, come on.
Was that one of the ones I was singing to? I think it was.
It probably was. Let's be honest.
Who wasn't singing to that song? I mean. Oh, I've got a story about this as well. So a couple of weeks ago, I went down to a small bar in Plymouth, and the DJ, and we was doing requests of the DJ, and so we kind of got the party going with me and a couple of my friends. And one of the things I requested was Sexy MF, and this guy beat matched it in. It was slightly faster than normal. It was, but it's Sexy MF. It's a great track, so people were dancing. But there was this hen party that was kind of playing. Oh, it's a bit rude, isn't it? It's the language is a bit raw. I was just like, it's like you've got an inflatable penis in your hand, but you're Sexy MF is too much. Come on. So like
What
I was
that
that movie was kind of playing in my head. This was a personal thing that nobody else would have had, but that was kind of like that movie was kind of playing in my head when everybody was shouting sexy, like I was just like, I'd love to have seen them in that room with everybody screaming.
I love the fact it was like, I'm not shocked that you were starting a party.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked on that. But no, a hen party, surely they would be up and up. It's got, be a great track to have on a hen party.
You'd think.
I had to literally take a deep breath to try and attempt to remain professional. And I kept looking out, and obviously for those of the people that are listening and saw that, you will have seen us doing our pictures in the little the press pit at the front, so there was so much room to dance. Chopin, you wouldn't have coped. There was so much room and you couldn't dance. So I was like, there was a few times that I made eye contact with Dale and I was like, deep breath, remain professional. But when Sexy MF kicked in, it was so difficult.
It's like you'd have to dance with one limb, have very still left leg and very still hands, but then your right leg is just dancing all over the place.
I was managing until it gets to that bit where it's like sexy mother shaking that ass, shaking. I was like, oh.
I now have to tick the box on YouTube saying not suitable for children now.
Oh my God. It's like, by this point, my voice sounded like a husky and my hips sounded like a rattlesnake, just like by the end of this song. It's it was so good. So good. It's an amazing track anyway.
One track that I kept hearing people mention since, and it's been talked about and a lot of people videoed, was Seven.
I thought that was beautiful the way they did that. Very minimal arrangement. And actually, most of the singing was handled by the crowd, and that includes the verses. I don't think Mackenzie did many lines, and it really worked. It was a beautiful moment. It's one of those songs that's a great unifier anyway.
Yeah, I think he kind of just cued us in occasionally just to keep us steady. There wasn't too much vocal in there at all, but it is one of those songs that I feel every Prince fan knows every single word to. So
yeah, and I think there was once I think he was about to cue in with the wrong word, but then he saw someone go ahead. I don't know if that's true, but I got the sense that maybe there was one point where he was about to come in with a different word, and then everybody else kind of came in with the verse, and it was just like, okay, yeah, you guys know it very well.
Yes, but no, I think you're right, Leah, that it's one song that everyone will sing along, and it's like, hey, you know the lyrics too. Yeah, I do. I'm a Prince fan, but it was that
I feel those lyrics. I don't know those lyrics. I feel them deep within my soul. So
yeah, and it was that that choir effect of just get people singing along, and it was really good to see. And I think at some point I flipped the camera around just to see, I had my phone on me and flipped the camera around just to see the audience behind me. But yeah, no, that was definitely, there was a few ones where you felt like part of the audience. It felt as one as the audience. Not to sound too metaphorical.
I think he asked for house lights on that one as well.
Yeah, I think.
Was that the one where he asked for house lights on that so everybody could see each other? That was there was one moment that was beautiful like that. But Seven was a very, very beautiful. There's so much of the NPG stuff that's funky as hell, and a party and a groove and a jam. But Seven was one of those moments where it was just and I liked that they were doing it with that moment happened with an NPG song. So that was icing on the cake for me.
And I was wearing my Love Symbol album T-shirt, as you can see in the multiple photographs that people keep tagging me in.
Yeah.
Well, after that, they went straight into Call My Name, which was a bit of a shocker, really unexpected. But I feel like it was the perfect song to go straight into, because I feel like that's another one that fans love singing along to. Granted, it's for the more hardcores. But that one for me was beautiful. I thoroughly enjoyed that. It's a track I've never personally heard live ever. I didn't get to see Prince perform it, I don't think. So it was a privilege to get to hear that track live.
But I was surprised by the crowd sing along to that one as because that one was like when they slip into hardcore stuff, it's like you can sometimes you think everybody's there for everything Prince, and then you realize there's a lot of people that are there for a certain specific time period, and absolutely welcome, and it's fantastic. You're as
you
much
see
as
everyone go off to the bar to get the drinks or go to you see that sometimes.
You're still as much a fan as me. That if you're there, like it's the same thing. I don't mean it like that sense. I just mean like some people are just genuinely kind of not interested in music club or musicology stuff. But that one, everybody stayed, and a lot of people sang along, and I heard a lot of people go, "This is my song. This is my song." And I was just like, "Oh, I didn't know everybody else." I mean, I've always liked the song. I wouldn't say it's like higher because I'm not a ballads person, but I've always thought it's a good example of his songwriting. But I was surprised by how deeply some of the reactions to it in the crowd, and it was. And he did a great job of it as well.
Yeah, it actually reminded me how much I love that song. I know we haven't done a podcast on this album at all, but it reminded me how much I loved it. And as soon as that first note came in, it's got a dramatic opening, as we all know. Literally, I was singing instantly, knew it within an instant. And I literally sang my heart out. Now, if you'd have asked me before the show, if they perform, Call My Name, will you be hyped about that? I'd probably go, yeah, it'd be cool to hear them do it, but I would never have expected myself to react that way. But I really did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Another one that people were really excited about, I saw as well, was Gold.
Oh, but how couldn't you be?
I totally agree. It's one of my favorite Prince songs ever. On the last podcast we did, I told everyone it's better than Purple Rain in my opinion, so I was thrilled.
You didn't get assassinated?
I'm still here.
No, it was great.
Paddy and Andy aren't here, so we can all say it out loud now. Gold is better than Purple Rain.
Oh, I feel so good to hear it out loud.
Feels so good to say.
I love that this podcast isn't any way, shape, or form biased in the two 80s podcasters are just not involved.
They were invited. They were invited to the podcast.
I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
No, it's fine. But from the opening chord, but likewise, from the opening chords, from that dun 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 dun. I mean, I'm just shimmering. I'm just
It was missing the confetti cannons, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, this is true. I mean, you need to, if you're going to play Gold, don't do it without confetti cannons.
That is true.
But this is what I came to hear, kind of thing. I mean, if you tell me I'm going to an NPG show, I know that Purple Rain is one of those things that anything associated with Prince, you kind of have to play when Doves Cries. But if I want to hear MPG, I'm here to hear and play Gold.
Totally agree.
Yeah, and Days Are Wild. So.
Well, they go somehow from Gold to Black Sweat seamlessly. How you make that happen, I don't know.
Yeah. But I liked shout out to Morris because I liked his little vocal intros of how he's like, oh, we've got to put in a bit of a sweat on, and how he did the little not innuendos, but the little tip to the hat of doing the little introduction to this is the song that's going to be played next. So yeah, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I loved it. Because he used to do that kind of preacher thing at the start of Satisfied, and I don't know if you remember Montabu's Hair Hut from the NPG audio shows. He did. Oh, I think it's the first audio show from the NPG. Like, they did these hour-long radio show things. The first one, there's Morris Hayes does a Montabu's hair hut. It's hilarious.
Lovely
He's
show.
fantastic. But he's got not just got musical timing, he's got comedy timing too. He's a good storyteller.
Yes.
He's a really good storyteller, Morris.
Yeah, he is.
And what's after the girl? Black Sweat, and then Kiss.
I will say, Black Sweat into Kiss is a very 21 Nights arrangement. I think that's what I think what they used was the 21 Nights arrangement, because Morris was playing on that, because that's how those two used to go.
It was like the perfect join, though. I know Prince already used to do that, but it does seem like the perfect switch up from Black Sweat to Kiss. It just works. And then they go to Nothing Compares to You. Beautiful, fan favorite, always.
Yeah, Mackenzie again. Mackenzie. Sorry, I should be wearing my Mackenzie t-shirt with my Mackenzie flag.
I feel like we all should. He's so talented, and I feel like it's so difficult to be accepted by the community in the position that he's in. I think, like, our community is brilliant, but it's really hard to please people, and I don't think Mackenzie could have done any better in the way that he's done things and the way that the fan community have accepted him, because it's been nothing but love and respect the whole time.
And it's like with Stokely with the Revolution as well, like has the same thing. Like they I think they've got the right approach. You just perform the songs well without trying to be,
Yeah.
Nothing Compares to You, though. I've got to say this is it's a little overplayed over the last couple of years for me. So I've had emotional moments to it over the last couple of years, but like I'm kind of like,
I get that. I understand that.
But then half the people haven't been playing it or hearing it as much as.
I feel like Nothing Compares to You hit me the hardest after he passed, and they released the single with the footage, the rehearsal footage. And I just think that after my cry of watching that, I'm never going to quite get the same feeling again. I feel like I've had my moment with it, kind of like you mentioned.
Yeah, I'm exactly. I was in Minneapolis when that single and video dropped, so it was like, and it was the morning of the first time I ever went to Paisley Park. So I watched that video for the first time, I think, at Paisley Park. Like online that morning. Then went to Paisley Park and they played it, and that was that morning, and it was just like, well, I'm kind of like my emotion for this song has kind of been like sucked at,
yeah.
You're like,
and it's worth mentioning as well. I don't know if we've mentioned it. Obviously, Prince's last performance in the UK was at KOKO, so I think there was that a connection as well. And I didn't get a vibe of people. I think there was a lot of people emotional in the crowd, and I know some people did cry, but I think it was a great way to celebrate him in the venue that he last performed at. The rest of the crowd were totally with the band, and it's the right thing to do. I'm just talking about my personal thing, but then that's because I've been binging on Prince for 25 years, right? So like that's just my personal thing. I just there was no point that the crowd, there was no down. I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that there was no down moments.
The energy didn't dip at any point.
Yeah. Like I appreciate it. The energy was still there. I was just, at that point, I was an observer rather than a participator.
Yeah.
But it's still an enjoyable thing to observe. It's not like a bad time or anything.
Well, I know for a fact you will have gone to a participator when they went in to Get Off next.
Oh. Like
only could I hear Chopin singing, I'm pretty sure I could hear him moving as well.
I think we sung some background vocals that weren't actually sung by the band as well, me and Maureen. I think there was one point where I kind of like sung in her ear, I Am Violet the Organ Grinder as well, just because, you know, it's the same song. Like, just go, please, if they go into Violet the Organ Grinder, I am done. I am done. But like,
I feel like at that point, me and you will have just floated into the air, and, like danced under the disco ball. Credit for how cool Mike Scott looked as well. He looked like a funk wizard.
Yeah.
Funk Wizards. They need to sell that on the t-shirt now.
Yeah.
They should. He did.
With the little red shoes as well. It was like...
His little red spiky shoes, yeah.
It was incredible. Yeah, he did look like a funk wizard. Very Boosty Collins style. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I'm always reminded of that little clip from like the Musicology tour where like he's playing the guitar and Prince is like, you know, this is a no pimp zone. It's like, you know, like, what gang you in? What? Cool in the gang.
Cool in the gang.
It's like and Mike's just sitting there, like sitting with that chicken grease guitar, just like
love it.
Yeah, cool guy.
So after Get Off, we do start going into our little like 80s trilogy. We have 1999, followed by Let's Go Crazy, followed by Controversy.
It's
somewhere Paddy and Andy are going, why are they not talking about these tracks? Why have they gone silent? There's a disturbance in the 80s Prince world.
Well, I mean, you're not going to go wrong with it.
I really liked the performance of Controversy. I thought it was there was a lot of, and Mackenzie again. Sorry, I really am a fan. Yeah, it's just the energy was just it was just great, and it was And every time we're talking about a song, I'm hearing it, and you know, you go into Prince mode, and you're like,
yeah. It's great. It's just, we know we're going to get Let's Go Crazy and we know we're going to get 1999 at any kind of Prince live event. So they're kind of a given. But I mean,
personally, I would have swapped out Let's Go Crazy. Well, no. Personally, I would have swapped out 1999 for Darling Nikki, but you know.
Can you imagine Mackenzie doing Darling Nikki? He was already humping a monitor during Black Sweat.
Oh, yeah, this is true.
Pregnated.
But then we do have the somewhat shocker. I suppose it's not a shocker at an NPG gig, but straight after Controversy, we go into Days of Wild.
There's so many great videos I've seen of just the crowd, and Sam got a great video that I borrowed from him, and you just where he was, and just the silhouette of Tony, and then the crowd all moving their hands at the same time. It's a great clip, and again, it reminded me again of the boat party, and you know.
So Days of Wild. I mean, everybody's gonna know. You know, most people will know what I think of it, given what I've said about 90s stuff. So Leah, how was you with this one?
This song cleanses my soul. I'm pretty sure as soon as this song kicked in, like my spirit left my body and was just dancing up in the ceiling of the KOKOs. This was really late on in the gig, so I knew I'd got all my shots kind of in the bag at this point. So this was kind of the first time I really relaxed into the gig. The rest of the time I was pretty preoccupied, but this song, I was like, okay, camera down. If a shot presents itself, I'll take it, but I'm just settling into this one. And I was just pogoing by the speaker. But it's so good. I mean, I would be appalled if I went to go see NPG and Days of Wild wasn't in there. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the one, it has to be done. Yeah. And it just has the same effect on me every single time. I think I could have gone to every single NPG show on this tour and I still would not be upset about hearing Days of Wild. I can hear it on a loop and it just makes me feel better every single time.
It's epic as a song. I know that there were parts of it where me, Kat and Maureen were like, I don't know about them, but I was screaming I was screaming out, these are the days of so much. I was like, wait a minute, did I just taste blood? Have I ripped my vocal cord? I was just like, oh my God. And I was like,
everyone's singing different back in. So you might be going, these are the Days of Wild, and someone next to you is going,
I think
as somebody in the corner going, hold on to your wigs.
I think as a Prince fan community is the best way to sum up this song. I think if it's our football chant, it's our Sweet Carolina. I think it's Sweet Caroline. Sorry, it is our football chant. Dare I even say
it's like a stadium chant. It's like
a stadium chant, isn't it?
Yeah, soul clapping. Like soul clapping along to the kick drum is our Mexican wave. And Days of Wild is our like football chant. There were parts of it, I mean, because there was so many different little things. You can hear like one person off in the distance going, "Free the slaves," like from the record. And then there's like me and a couple of others when we're doing that, play that bass, play that mother, like people were chanting different bits from different live versions, either it be like the Crystal Ball version or like some people were doing bits from like a Glam Slam bootleg from, you can tell which bootleg they owned by which like chant they were doing. It was
literally,
it's fantastic. Like as a song, it's just like
see the fans assembling and doing their mating call.
Yeah, exactly. Things like David Attenborough. It's like, here we have the Prince fans going, living out their days of wild. Hear their mating call of, nah, these aren't the days, these aren't the days.
I'm so going to edit that now.
So after they got us like super hyped,
yeah,
that's when we get our Purple Rain and introductions to the band.
Yeah, well, I was ready for Get Wild. I'm sorry.
I was the same.
I was just like, this is an important song and you have to play it. I get it, but I'm ready for Get Wild.
And 319, and now an endorphin machine.
Return of the Bomb Squad.
Yes.
Return of the Bomb Squad.
By the way, you guys
big
are
fun.
You guys are DJing at my funeral if Drake can't do it.
Exactly. As they lower.
Love this track.
As we lower this coffin to the ground, we all bow our heads and get freaky and let your head bob. Get freaky and let your head bob.
And as that fades out and the final track commences and we get to look at Lee's lovely body in the coffin, face down.
Big funeral Prince jokes.
Prince funeral jokes.
Or you can edit that out.
That was even a category.
Nasty corpse. No.
I loved. Oh, that was anyway.
We're burying you in lingerie and playing nasty corpse.
You can definitely edit this out.
we'll take that one. No. No.
Back to Purple Rain.
Back to Purple Rain. I said I'd rather talk
all
about
the 80s tracks. We all go silent, going, "Yeah, I don't know what we need to say."
Yeah, I'd rather talk about Lee's funeral than Purple.
Why?
I was done, mate. No,
No, just to say for any listeners, we are in fact sober. Lee is drinking a can of Boost, but other than that,
the only Coke I've had is liquid and bubbly.
I'm on some caffeine, but other than
that,
the Purple Rain.
The Purple Rain. Yeah, it was great. People sang along. It's like that thing with Sign of the Times. Even before Mackenzie starts singing, everybody's going, oh, way, oh. And Purple Rain, even before it, from the opening chords, everybody's going, ooh.
Like literally the lights go down and the purple lights come on and everyone's already woo-hoo-hooing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that, and like literally, people have been waiting to sing all that. Great unifier. It's one of those things I like. I where I become an observer rather than a participator, because it's nice. It's nice to see how people to the core feel this one, and yeah, you have to play it like anyway. But I think it's for the band. It must be a joy to play anyway because the energy that comes from it. So, you know, like
That's true.
we can secretly kind of like go in the, okay, it's the Purple Rain moment. We've got to give these guys what they want, look around, and I still, like I said, with nothing compares to you, still enjoyable, still love it. But like, I'm just like, you just hype me up with Days of Wild. I'm ready for big fun, Get Wild, Return of the Bump Squad, Violet the Organ Grinder, Pheromone, Acknowledge Me.
Yes.
Like, this poor band, the pool they have to choose from. Like,
I would just love them to do.
Push.
Yeah. Oh, stop it, Chopin.
Wait for it. Watch this one. Count the Days, because Sunny was out. I wanted to see that.
I wanted The Good Life.
The Good Life, yes. Good Life, or his version of Love Thy Will Be Done.
Oh.
We just turned into them fans
Funky
of like, why didn't they do this song?
Funky design. See, I appreciate those fans and I get those fans, but I also get that the gig wasn't 10 hours long. So
Yeah.
our list is going to be loose, interactive.
You know what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to do like a KOKO show or a main venue show and then give us an after show.
You know what they could
after show, that's when they hit us with Pheromone and all of that good stuff.
Exactly. If you did like one of those, because I did one. Ada Nelson did a show in Camden and then did like a kind of an after show jam thing at the Pizza Express in Soho, and it was amazing because like she stretched out and jammed and did different stuff. And I would love to like the NPG to do their main shows, you know, like that kind of festival shows and big thing, and then do the next time they come around, do a smaller party where they do just like hardcore stuff.
Yeah,
like
and advertise it as
stuff.
such so people know what they're getting themselves into. But I think it's
unreleased stuff. Like before we get into like when they recorded at Paisley Park this last celebration, apparently they recorded Son of Sexy MF, right? I'd love to have heard them like slip that in.
Yeah.
Do you know how I would do it? The Inner Geek in me would be, I would have a survey link on a website and it would be like, vote for your favourite tracks, and you vote for the tracks and the fans create a playlist.
Yeah.
And you can see it, you can interactively see it, and just see like, you know, Get Wild is there's 45% or something in there, you know, and then the set list is built up by the fans. It's like, oh, vote.
Great.
Yeah.
Well,
50% of the show is going to have to be Purple Rain, Let's Go. Like I understand that for the because they're not just playing NPG only rooms, they're playing festivals. There are certain things that people ask of bands or expect them to play at festival things. So I understand that they've got kind of contractual things, or maybe I'm not sure if they do, but or
external
just
pressures.
External pressures. One of them is just expectation of people wanting to come there and sing Purple Rain. So they have to do Purple Rain, Let's Go Crazy, When Doves Cry, all that kind of stuff. So if you do like a 50% please the hardcore, 50%, I don't know.
It must be incredible. Like everywhere, I think we all agree
it's hard.
It's incredibly hard, and
yeah,
like me personally, I think
because you've got to do that and maintain the energy between the two as well, between the two 50%, right?
And you have to find time to rehearse all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
The bigger the set list, the more you're adding in. It's more rehearsal time.
Yeah, the logistics of it is like, maybe that's why we haven't got Return of the Bump Squad. Maybe they need to do a sampler set.
Yeah.
Ooh. Maybe they, you know, like
Yeah.
it worked for Prince. It made a lot of people feel like they'd heard their favorite song. So
yeah, but then all the 80s stuff if it was down to you shows, all the 80s stuff would be in some like 10-minute sampler set, and then the other like hour and a half.
Oh no.
Looking so sweet and innocent.
No, the sampler set would have been 90s stuff as well. They got a whole Revolution show where there was no 90s stuff. I don't see why I don't get I'm joking. It's all great. It's all
Go pants outside holding the sign going, I want 90s.
Look, this is a man so fucking talented with enough stuff that you can be unhappy not unhappy, but you can be kind of like, oh, I can see a great gig without your 20 biggest hits.
Yeah.
Like the most beautiful girl in the world.
Not in it.
Yeah, I think
No,
because now that's now been they've sorted out the legal issues with that. So
well, that's why the repress was this year.
Yeah.
What songs do we have?
So
Yeah.
then we move on to our encore. So after Purple Rain, they go off and they came back on to DMSR, which
Great.
I love that song. I do really love
great.
that song. I have a little story in relation to DMSR actually, because I saw them on their last tour, but in Birmingham. And I don't know if you remember, but on the last tour for DMSR, they got fans up to dance up on stage. And I had already seen, I'm sure they did London first and then they came to Birmingham, or they'd done some other venue, and I knew they were getting people up for DMSR. So I was like, okay, fine. I was like, #barrier crew, enjoying my time on the barrier. DMSR comes on and Mackenzie points at me and he's like, I want you up. And I'm like, yes, this is my moment, my time to shine. And I went to sort of like edge forward a little bit with the rail in front of me, and security pointed at me and was like, get down. And they wouldn't let any of us up. So there was three girls, me being one of them, that were pointed out at the front that were told to come up, but security wouldn't let any of us up. So this time I was like, when DMSR comes out, I knew they hadn't been getting people up for DMSR because COVID and the whole situation. But I thought maybe from what they mentioned in the podcast when we interviewed them, that because they were doing the meet and greet, I thought maybe they will get people up for DMSR because it's the last date of the tour. So because they hadn't done meet and greets at any of the other venues. So I thought maybe they will get people up for DMSR. So I was like ready, waiting, ready to go, and they didn't. But my time will come. My time will come.
I will say DMSR I would have been in the mood for DMSR after Days of the Wild. That would have been like a kind of 80s track that I could have.
Yeah.
Or America, like that would have been But DMSR was fantastic. I was so up for that.
Yeah, it's another crowd sing-along, isn't it? Everyone
Yeah,
does
it's great. It's such a great song.
And then they go on to Baby I'm a Star.
That was a good finisher. That was a good finisher. That was...
New tour arrangement as well. So yeah that baby. Yeah.
So proud of you, Chopin. No.
I sing most of my reviews rather than talk them.
No, just the fact of your arrangement knowledge as well. I'm sure Paddy will be listening to this going, he's a legend. He's really good. He knows his stuff.
Look, we've all got the bootlegs. Come on.
I think that's like the most bootlegged show ever as well. Like I feel like every time you go online and it's a Prince live show, it's either a bootleg of Syracuse or a bootleg of New Tour 90.
Yeah, it's either Tokyo or La Coruña. Yeah.
Rock in Rio.
Oh yeah, Rock in Rio.
So that was their closing track. I think it was a great closeout. It left us all really hyped. But I don't know. I kind of don't remember the show ending. I know that sounds really strange, but I kind of don't remember. Yes, I do.
I think you might remember them coming out and doing a bit of an energetic crowd chant.
Yeah, they came out and they did Johnny.
Yes. Now, me and Maureen and Katrina had been doing the every Dead Space kind. Let's get them to play it by just starting a chant out, and you could hear these little chants throughout the gig, like starting out of the Johnny, but then like the OEOs would start as well, and they'd be a lot louder. But that I love that. I love that they did Johnny
because it was a competition between the locations, wasn't it? The tour locations.
I did feel sorry for people that didn't know it though, because they're kind of just like bobbing along. Kind of looked at people and I was like, oh.
If I knew they were going to do it then for the competition, I would have pushed some people out the way. Because voice or no voice, I think I was at 25% voice at that point. It would have been a very bass note version of it.
It was great though, and it was really fun to see the band's footage because they all filmed the audience.
Oh yeah.
So for those of us that were kind of near the front or at the front, it was great to kind of see ourselves in the video as well. It's like, oh, I've been shot, I've been shot by Tony M, or I've videoed by Morris.
There we go.
That's where we got the shout out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony
You
M
guys
gave
got
us-
shout out by name?
Yeah.
Yes, that was very cool.
Very
'Cause
cool.
even I think the camera came on me and you, Leah, and we got a shout out. That was very surreal. And I've said to Chopin, I said 14-year-old Lee doing his paper round, listening to the Love Symbol album, rapping along to Tony M, and then Tony M gives you a shout out. It was a moment.
It's a
was
nice full circle moment.
Yeah,
What I
exactly.
was about to say. It's very full circle. I was at Prince's last show at KOKO. It was the last time I saw him. Obviously, it was at his last show in the UK. So just going back to KOKO for me was really emotional because it was that last time. I'm sure it was for you guys as well. Did you both go KOKO? The Prince
No,
one?
I missed. I was out.
Weirdly enough, I had tickets and I was in the queue outside. I was kind of in the queue outside, but like I'd started a job and they had booked me overtime that I hadn't approved, but they were like basically like, well, you've just started. I mean, if it happened now, I would have told them where to go, but it was this weird thing that had happened at the time. So it was kind of like, okay.
Oh my God, I went to a Prince gig that Chopin didn't go to. I didn't think that was possible.
You've done to
Chopin, if I remember rightly, Rosalina was tagging us, and both me and you weren't there because you were somewhere and I was out of the country. I was either in Switzerland, Japan, or Rio, somewhere.
Well, I went up and said hello to because I knew so many people were going to be there that I just kind of like went up there to see the lineup and just like kind of give some people some hugs and highs, and it was you've been to a couple that I haven't been to. I haven't been to any of the Birmingham ones.
Okay.
Did you go to any of the 2014
I did the Manchester O2 Academy.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't do that one.
I did the Birmingham Arena.
That's where I first met you, Leah.
KOKO's.
I met you.
Last KOKO show.
I met you afterwards at Birmingham when we was all in the pub.
You'd met me before then, Lee.
I'm sure.
You'd met me at a London Weekender because I went to my first London Weekender when I was 16.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't even old enough to be in the venue.
I think I remember that because you.
Do Prince fans confessions?
I came in a white lace dress and white stockings and suspenders.
I think
had purple hair.
Okay.
I will send you. I'll put a picture of the group chat.
Okay.
I seem to remember that. Weirdly enough, I think we've only been to one show, the same show, and we didn't know each other. 21 Nights last night, and that was the only show we've been at the same show, and we didn't know each other then.
It's so weird.
So weird.
Anyway, it was very full circle going to KOKO. And my goal, people who know me just think, oh, Leah wanted to meet Prince. But for me, my goal was always to work with him in some capacity, to be part of that creative team. So it was really strange for me to be there in a professional capacity for PPUK at KOKO's. It felt so far yet so close. But it was a real full circle. So to do that, it was such an amazing opportunity. So thank you, Lee, for enabling that. It's really appreciated. But it was emotional. I'm kind of almost glad I was distracted because I was doing something, because I think at times I may have been kind of overwhelmed with that emotion if I wasn't so distracted.
Yeah, no, like I said earlier, you know, a lot of people don't know the hard work that goes in behind the scenes, and thank you to NPG for allowing us to help support and, you know, letting us take photographs and stuff. And it was all good, and we've done our best. We did our best to support it, and it's been hard work, but really I think we've really enjoyed it, and it's, you know, that show was really good, and I had a blast, and, you know, 90s fanboy came out at several points during the night, and apologies for me singing on several of the live streams and the YouTube videos that I've put up. My album will be released at the end of the month. with all the NPG classics. And
with lots
me and
of
Tony,
samples.
yeah, all the samples, and hopefully me and Tony M will be releasing a rap video.
I, however, the next day having this is vastly improved, by the way, from Monday, and my job is to do train announcements on the platform. So the next day, I roll up to work. Yeah, platform 319. It's more like I you know, like it sounded like I had been smoking cigarettes my entire life. And I was just like, the next train to arrive on platform 10 will be called in red. So it was rough. It was a rough day doing announcements. No, like I had 25% of my voice at most.
Well, in Stratford, rock and roll in online.
Yes, like the next train will be going to South End.
Phil Mitchell in the house.
Yeah, it was. Tell him. And then I had to go out and like some people, if like I'm the guy with also the guy with the whistle and the lamp that shouts at you if you're kind of playing around with the train when it's moving, like tells you to stand away. So all of a sudden there's this stand away. They looked like they'd been haunted by someone, like some ungodly creature, rather than shouted at. So
when you do announcements, do you ever sneak in Prince lyrics or track names?
No, but if I do,
Oh, yeah?
I will record it for the show. All right.
Please do.
Maybe I'll do it on night shift when all the passengers are too drunk to notice.
But no, it was a really great experience, and I really enjoyed myself. And again, thank you for everyone that came to the pre-gig party, and thank you for everyone that said they're enjoying the podcast. We're trying our best, and hopefully everyone's enjoying themselves. And thank you for the support.
I think that's the perfect little ending to our podcast there.
Perfect. So from a very tired PPUK, thank you for listening. It's been an NPG review, and we'll be back with you soon with many more reviews.
Yeah,
So Leah, does this cleanse your soul?
Let's go again.